You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it. That's Nazi propaganda. Wow.
I will be the friend that's too woke because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird. Like fascist weird. Like Nazi propaganda weird.
This is Nazi pure Nazi
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro jeans.
You see what I did there, right?
If you're unfamiliar with the mimetic phenomenon of the affluent white female liberal, AWFLs for short, then you should probably get familiar because it's an inarguable fact at this point that they are the most powerful, most influential faction in US politics as we pass the quarter pole of the 21st century. You know how I'm always harping on the fact, as I see it, that nearly 100% of political messaging and commercial messaging seems engineered to appeal to female emotions, female proclivities, and female predilections? Well, you can go ahead and take this week's comically ridiculous fake controversy over the Sydney Sweeney blue jeans ad. That's jeans with a J, not with a G, so please don't send the awful rage mob to come stab me to death with their nose rings. Where one of the top news stories of the week is fat, deeply unhappy, wild-eyed, blue-haired white women in their 30s with various javelin-shaped objects jammed through their faces, absolutely losing their shit over the fact that a hot actress did an ad campaign for a major apparel brand. I know, it's a lot to take in, but we'll get through this together. But if this incident does wind up featuring in future history books, as some of the more unhinged TikTokers have asserted that it will, it'll be because future historians identified this moment as the exact point where we hit peak awful. It's Friday the 1st of August. This is Curmudgeon's Corner. From high atop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where if they ever send Sydney Sweeney to outer space, I hope she doesn't selfishly leave her shirt on like Katy Perry did. Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner. Let's talk about 350-pound black women. Because if American Eagle had chosen, let's say, Lizzo instead of Sydney Sweeney for this big ad campaign, all of those same crazy women would be falling all over each other right now, calling it stunning and brave and inspiring. They would shed bucket loads of TikTok crocodile tears over how beautiful it is that a strong, powerful woman of color can have an ass the size of New Hampshire and still get her own blue jeans ad. We are breaking down Eurocentric beauty standards. Guys, it's really happening. Isn't it great? But if you put a hot white actress in that same jeans ad, well, we've seen what happens when you do that. Especially if you include a cute little pun about jeans and jeans. Then all those same crazy women who clearly view themselves as the exclusive gatekeepers of the culture at large will start shrieking about Nazis and fascism. Which, perhaps not coincidentally, is the same way they seem to react to all things and people that don't meet their preferred standards of ugliness and nihilism. For with the awfuls, there doesn't seem to be any room for a middle ground between, I really like that thing, and I hate that thing and you are literally Hitler. For my own part, I've seen lots of blue jean ads I didn't like, and especially within the last 10 years as the woke denizens of the corporate boardrooms of the apparel world have attempted to socially engineer the population into embracing the notion that morbidly obese 350-pound black women are just as attractive and just as desirable as a Marilyn Monroe or a Sophia Loren or a Sydney Sweeney. That effort was never going to succeed, obviously, because it's a lie, and it flies in the face of tens of thousands of years of human evolution as well as basic intuition. This is not a matter of opinion, and it's got nothing to do with race. It is simply a fact about the world that Sydney Sweeney is more attractive and desirable than Lizzo is. It's also a fact about the world that Halle Berry is more attractive and desirable than Amy Schumer is or Lena Dunham is. So let's stop pretending there is any racial component to any of this. Men prefer attractive women to ugly women. You can put an ugly woman on every billboard in every city in the whole wide world, as the fashion industry has tried very doggedly to do over the past decade or so, and you will accomplish nothing except to make lots of passing motorists and pedestrians lose their appetite for lunch. So when you see these women, these awfuls, just going into paroxysms of rage and despair over a hot blonde actress in a blue jeans ad, you shouldn't be surprised by that, because they have been, after all, the primary targets of this whole social engineering initiative, and they have fallen the hardest for it, for this whole notion that we have discussed before at some length, that modern art has to be ugly and repulsive, modern architecture has to be ugly and repulsive, modern music has to be ugly and repulsive, and indeed, beautiful people have to be ugly and repulsive. To call it Orwellian is almost too easy and too obvious, for in the last 10 years or more of mass media social engineering, it's almost a paraphrase of the most famous, and sadly the most prescient, passage from 1984. Up is down, black is white, 2 plus 2 equals 5, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. Boy, that last one really hits home, doesn't it? And the current post-Orwellians have added a further 2 entries to that list, those being men are women and women are men, which is another example of mass media and corporate advertising trying to browbeat the general public by brute force into accepting the depraved worldview that prevails in the ivory towers of their C-suites and boardrooms. And while it's difficult to say what the actual top-line motivations of this campaign have been, except to simply replace beauty and human flourishing with ugliness and nihilism just to see if they could do it, it's not difficult to see which demographic group has drunk the social engineering Kool-Aid most enthusiastically of all, and that is the awfuls. You can tell just by looking at them, with their jello-colored hair and their neck tattoos and their face javelins, that they are fully on board with the post-Orwellian ugliness is beauty project. And they've had engineered out of their brains altogether the ability to process information like normal, healthy, well-adjusted people. As I said a moment ago, I've seen lots of apparel ads that I found distasteful or off-putting for whatever reason, as I'm sure you have too. But were you still thinking about it 5 or 10 seconds later? Of course you weren't. Did you care enough to get upset over it? Of course you didn't. Did you immediately go home and make a weeping, screaming TikTok video about how the ad must be fascist Nazi propaganda because it's got a hot, big-titted white chick in it? I'm guessing you probably didn't. And why not? Because you're not a fucking crazy person. Now, did American Eagle intentionally design this Sydney Sweeney ad campaign to be a thumb in the eye of the wacky wokesters who think pictures of pretty women constitute Nazi propaganda straight out of the Joseph Goebbels handbook, to quote some idiot college professor I saw on some fake news channel yesterday? Well, I can't say. But I kind of really hope they did. Because the only way for these maniacs to get knocked off of their perch is through open mockery and derision, and lots of it. And it would make me quite happy indeed if it really is the fact that American Eagle's advertising division is now being run by people who were not born yesterday, who like to live in the real world, who can see that the cultural winds are shifting in a big damn hurry back toward normalcy and sanity and reason, and who wish to position their company in opposition to the idiotic nihilistic trash that has prevailed in their industry and most other industries for the better part of the current century. Because if that really is the case, if the advertising division decided, you know what? Fuck the wokesters, and the boardroom told them to go ahead and do it, and a fairly major starlet like Sydney Sweeney said, yup, I'm on board too, let's make those idiots squeal, then there is no way to view this except as a very encouraging development in the culture wars. Because 5 years ago, I don't think there would be the slightest possibility of this ad campaign happening. Back when every terrified company from sea to shining sea was scratching out 8-figure checks to Black Lives Matter with "Please God, don't call us racist" written on the memo line, and they were all falling all over each other to see who could come up with the wokest, blackest, gayest, fattest, transiest ad campaign. If a company as big as American Eagle and a celebrity as prominent as Sydney Sweeney, if they are feeling sufficiently emboldened here in 2025 to put out ads that implicitly say, yeah, we know dumb people are going to freak out about this and we don't give a shit, then if you want to make a World War II analogy out of it, as the awfuls want to do, so I guess We can play that game too, can't we? Then Sydney Sweeney and her magnificent breasts have just stormed the beaches of woke Normandy, and the enemy commander... Let's make him a face-tattooed transgender named Erwina Rommel. He's going to put up the most spirited defense he can, but he knows there is no way to repel this invasion. He knows he is up against a numerically superior enemy force. He can see this is the strategic tipping point, and the war is irretrievably lost, and now it's just a matter of time to see how many screeching TikTok videos we can continue making before we admit defeat. And 10 months from now, Sydney Sweeney will march triumphantly into Berlin, hopefully with her shirt off. I'm done. That's all I've got. Thanks ever so much for watching. See you Sunday, Blast Radius 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Until then, get off my lawn.